Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, aharastvapi sarvasya. Aharastvapi sarvasya. Trividho bhavati priya. Trividho bhavati priya. Yagyastapastatha dhanam. Yagyastapastatha dhanam. Tesham bhedam imam shrinu. Tesham bhedam imam shrinu. Aharastvapi sarvasya. Trividho bhavati priya. Yagyastapastatha dhanam. Tesham bedam imam shrinu. Synonyms, word for word meaning. Ahara, eating. To, certainly. Api, also. Sarvasya, of everyone. Trividha, of three kinds. Bhavati, there is. Priya, dear. Yagya, sacrifice. Tapa, austerity. Tatha, also. Dhanam, charity. Tesham, of them. Bhedam, the difference. Imam, this. Shrinu, hear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. He's overlooking us very seriously. From your point of view, he's looking at me, right? Yes. From my point of view, he's looking at, I don't know, the air conditioner. to the verse, sorry. So purport, translation. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifice, austerity, and charity. Now hear of these distinctions between them. Purport. Very nice, short essence. In terms of different situations in the modes of material nature, there are differences in manner of eating and performing sacrifices, austerities, and charities. They are not all conduced on the same level. Conducted, yes. Thank you. Those who can understand analytically what kind of performances are in what modes of material nature are actually wise. Those who consider all kinds of sacrifice or food or charity to be the same cannot discriminate, and they are foolish. There are missionary workers who advocate that one can do whatever he likes and attain perfection. But these foolish guides are not acting according to the direction of the scripture. They are manufacturing ways and misleading people in general. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kedamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha kalpatarupescha kripa sindhupaevacha paridhanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I would say this is some kind of a slight introduction which is used by many wise people, and first of all Krishna himself, how the subject is prepared. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when he was telling us the stories about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was doing exactly the same thing. So what he was doing, well, we can say there was slight excuse. He was so old, he was not sure he's going to finish his book. And so what he did in the beginning of chapter, whatever he was prepared to tell, he said, this is the story what I'm going to telling you. So then he was telling, and the end of it says, this was what I told you, And also the end of the book is also description, everything what he told already. So now Krishna is doing exactly the same, or originally, let's say, all the other sages copying from him. He just absorbs, Now I'm going to talk, and these will be subjects which I'm be telling you. Still, amongst them all, there is a little bit of an emphasis, which is expressed by first word in the translation. Just a little bit. Okay. Maybe you're not going to do Sanskrit anymore. The translation. So what is the first word? Even. So he hasn't started the counting all the subjects we're going to talk, but still says even the food, a special emphasis, because there is a further on sacrifice, austerity, charity, and they are kind of reasonable. People give charity, austerity in different ways, but food. How many people think I'm eating food in this way or that way, and which guna is there? Not much, unless you are regularly visiting Ayurvedic doctor and he's telling you, oh, this is your diet and this is to be eaten, this is not to be eaten. Otherwise, who cares, I eat what I like. And therefore, there is subtitle of this class, we can easily say, we are what we're eating. You heard of that, right? You are what you eat, And different living beings in different bodies are meant to have different food. But there's how many human forms of life? Big number. Exactly to be 400,000, If there's different animals have different food, can we say that all human beings supposed to have the same food? Not really. You're born in one family, you have one food, and you are born in another culture, another food. I don't know. In Hindi, there's a saying, I never know the Hindi itself, but it says every 200 meters, there's different kitchen, different habits of eating, right? Or cooking, right? You go on the other side of Yamuna, different chapatis. Yeah, they're doing these chapatis, and there's thick ones, and there's thin ones, and there's this kind of vegetables, that kind of vegetables, they don't grow. Or 5 kilometers further, they cook different things, So therefore, Krishna says, even food, emphasizing this. So therefore, I decided to give a little bit of food, although there's other things. But we can say also this is introduction to next verses, because next few verses will be explaining exactly which guna, which food is there. I don't want to go too much into that, but the main thing that we understand that there's different levels of consciousness for food, for faith, shraddha, and the gunas are providing every single aspect of our life. So this is kind of preparation for the next things. So remember, we are who we eat. So this chapter is starting, actually, I mentioned that they're going to be starting this Arjuna's question, and he's asking, Those who worship with faith, but not according to the Shastra. What are their position? Because previously we discussed the demons and demigods and so on. So this is position, they're going up and somebody is going down and so on. So, but if you don't know such a global vision, if you don't see, like example, nowadays these drones are a very famous thing, you know. Have you seen drones in your life? Have you tried to manipulate one? It's much more crazy than a car, you know. It's like so fast we can get the accidents right away. You know, the fast now they put the cars go the fastest, but there's also drones with a world record. You know, 636 kilometers per hour, or something like that. They're faster than the Formula cars. They can actually take movie. The Formula cars go like this, and the drones are easily following it. Ukrainians are killing Russians now with the drones. So there's different things which are happening in the world, and different gunas doing so. Somebody is going slow, somebody is going fast. So if you do that drone vision to our highway, for example, going from Vrindavan, Mayapur, you know, from Mathura to Delhi, you will see some car going fast, some going on. Somebody has a sign on the back, I cannot go faster than this, you know. But when you sit on the road itself, you're not sure, you know, unless you see your speed, you know. So this car going fast or slow, you don't know. So you can only compare one to the other. Such a way you can understand. So similar way, when we compare our habits, our gunas to others, it's much more easy to understand. Therefore, it is emphasized that there is a sarvasya, that first of all, everybody is influenced by different gunas. Everybody has different types of food. Yeah, 3 types. You know, he says in the middle, 3 types. So 3 times can be related to gunas, and 3 times can be also related to the food in such a way, and also sacrifice austerities and so on. So, why it's so important? So you are what you eat. So what's wrong with that? Okay, if I eat lots of honey, will be as sweet? It's true or not? Kind of, because there was an interesting story about Bhakti-yoga Saraswati, and he allowed some devotees to stay for free in ashram. But there was one small thing. He checked what kind of food they eat, because in that ashram there was some kind of kitchen, and you know, kitchen, you order something like, I eat this and that, and they asked all the cooks, please write down who is eating what. So the guys who was eating a lot of chilies, they're not allowed to stay at ashram. Only those who are ordering more than normal amount of sweets, oh, these are brahmanas, they can stay in ashram. Such an usual thing. That's coming from Bhakti-yoga Saraswati. So this is two-way street. First of all, we have some gunas in our body, and they require certain food to be maintained. Just imagine if you want a, I don't know, let's say same tiger or you know some dog or something like, to switch to vegetarian diet. Do you think his character, his behavior will change? Could be. He'll become like, oh, nice tiger. If you give him sweets, could be. First of all, he requires food according to his body. And second thing is opposite. If you change your diet, it's also changing your behavior. So therefore, we have to understand the food shapes the consciousness. I'm not going to show. There was a very unusual situation that in, I think somewhere in America, there was this a case when the beekeepers, they recognized, they opened the beehive and they see there's a blue honey inside. Have you heard of that? Blue honey. So what happened? They didn't know what's going on. Usually honey is normal. So they actually found out that there's a blue honey. So they traced up what's going on. Happened to be that not far from there was a factory which making candies. And not candies, but there's M&Ms, you know, M&M things, And some of them were, not very good quality, so they just throw out, in the bushes there. And of course, it's sweet, and all the bees, they went there and was like eating like crazy, It's like sugar, that's how beekeepers do. If you want to have some honey back from the bees, you feed them sugar, and they can survive over winter or whatever is the period. So they were eating this thing, and they're bringing that up and the blue honey, such a way. And the kids, when you see them eating candies, they also have a blue tongue sometimes, or a pink tongue or something like that. So these things happening, and we have to understand that certain gunas inside us push to eat, unless we really can control that. So therefore, Bhagavatam explains that there is different levels of consciousness, and usually it's understood this is our covering. It's called kosha, pancha kosha, annamaya, pranamaya. Who knows further? Annamaya, pranamaya. Next one. Come on. Sometimes it says manomaya, sometimes it says jnanamaya. The fourth one is vijnanamaya, and finally is anandamaya. Yeah. So these are coverings. But other scriptures says that Krishna appears in different ways according to our desire. Yeyatham ma prapadyante. As you worship me, I appear. I reward you such a way. So if you are interested only in food, I will appear in such a way. I will reward you in such a way that you see nothing than food, If you look at the monkey's eye, he has not many desires. One of the major desires is just the food, And if he is full of, some sweets or some bananas or these chickpeas or chana there on the street, he doesn't have one. Maybe having some interaction with his female partners, but the rest of it, they just so different change, You come in the morning here in a temple, you pass by a monkey, and he's in complete tamaguna because he's sleeping. And you can go like this, like 5 centimeters, it doesn't move an inch because he's different guna. So therefore, for us, it's important understanding how we see the world. In such a world, will both interact with us. And understanding that Krishna is behind everything, we will get the interaction as well. So, meanwhile, we can understand that different cultures also have a different impression, different understanding about food. I just can have three, let's say Buddhism, for example. They have idea, the principle that food obtained through lawful means, it is okay for consumption, for eating, even if it looks originally maybe not pure or not proper. But the means are okay, then it's fine. Ayurveda, what is interesting thing, Ayurvedic doctor, one of these main duties are, it is said in one of the scriptures, keeping the king's food free from poison and harmful substances. It is task of royal Ayurvedic physician. That's his duty. Keep him from being poisoned. Keep him from being overeating. Yeah, this is doctor. This is duty. I'm like, army protects the king, so the royal physician Ayurvedist, he protects him. In Vaishnavism, we also have a nice thing that we understand that consuming any food has a backfiring, link to our consciousness. Such a way, we also know sometimes Prabhupada gives a comparison to the car. If you put proper petrol in a car, it runs nicely. But sometimes, especially this Western idea of blonde ladies, they just put it something nice and oh, this looks better, it smells better, Oh, this is closer to my car. I park this way, and you're lazy to take the tube from that side, you put on this side, so you don't care what is written there, diesel or petrol or something. You just put whatever it is, And of course, it causes ruination of the car, similarly, yeah. So, therefore, general understanding coming from previous gunas, we can remember the tamaguna, it gives the dullness of consciousness. The Rajaguna will give the restless mind, and the Sattvika food will clarity and devotion, such a way. Yeah. There's also like a threefold chain. Yeah. We can compare these three gunas in general, such a way. Actually, there's a kind of, this idea that if you have anger, you cannot control anger, then it goes down, and finally you use the memory, and so on. So with the food is similar way. The gunas which we have, give a food, it purifies the mind. Then, according to that, also the faith changes, and finally, actions change. True. But opposite way also happens. If you don't act, so those who studied the nectar of devotion, especially Bhakti Shastri thing, they know that intelligence is also gradually can be degraded if you don't take care of it. Oh, Krishna, there's some kind of alarm going on. Oh, this is Gayatri time. Somebody wants to chant Gayatri now? If you're really, really strict, okay. But usually we skip the thing and do it before or after. Anyways, we have this idea that many problems come from our ignorance, from tamaguna actually. So from that comes the seeds of action of our sinful desire. From them is sins and prarabdha, manifested, non-manifested, and subdhari sufferings. But there's also backfiring. This idea: if you perform action, then there's an inbound, I would say, quality that you are inclined to do that activity again. Same with the food. If you eat spicy food, like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to eat spicy food anymore. No, because you eat it, then next time you're again inclined. Or you like sweets. Okay, I do it again. But the main problem is with the, our desire, because we're doing for our satisfaction. In family life, sometimes the cooking is not very appreciated. There's a joke, Western world, that wife comes home and there's a red tape. Sometimes there's a murder, and the police puts red tape around. This is murder scene. Please don't cross. So wife comes home and she sees around the kitchen there's a red tape. Murder scene, don't cross. And wife, really? You don't like my cooking so much? So better you sometimes order fast food than cooking that some person doesn't like. So that's because we have such a different taste. If you don't marry according to your own gunas, you'll be suffering because every person eats different food. From other point of view, this is the art. The mother, she knows what his husband preferring, what the children preferring, and she will cooking food accordingly. And if we are proper Krishna devotees, we'll be cooking what we like. We will offer to Krishna Russian salad. No? I don't know. Probably we'll check it out. What is the foods which Yashoda usually cooking, which Radharani is cooking for Krishna? We offer that. If we have some kind of inclination, make him happy. If we just think ourselves and we just want to purify the food from karma, so we live okay in this world, then we just offer fast. I just a couple of days ago, I'm not going to mention devotee, but he offered the whole pineapple, uncleaned, to Krishna. I said, oh, I offered already. You can do it. Said, come on. Didn't take the thing out. Apple maybe, but the pineapple, come on, you should clean and offer that. No, he offers the whole thing. I'm not sure it was washed, but I offered to Krishna, so it's offered. It's prasadam, right? So this is usually how we do it. So in our world, usually we have this basically understanding that there is a food, and according to that food, you also classify people. There's the vegetarians, and there's vegans, and then there's the meat eaters, and so. And according to that, people will be different behaving. Don't expect very pleasant company if you go to the steakhouse. And if you go to some vegan place, probably it will be quite peaceful. So therefore, the gunas are As Krishna says, you look at the food and you'll see what kind of behavior you can expect from a person. And of course, as a devotees, we are looking for devotional application, right? So, for us, prasadam is more important, not just vegan, not just sattvic food. For us, is most important, Prabhupada explained, is offering food to Krishna. So it will not be just purified, it will actually increase more the devotional attitude, devotional interaction with Krishna, this way or the other. And because we have to eat regularly, this will be our sadhana. You can come to Mangalarti or not, nobody will notice, but you have to eat. The fire inside is burning. This is actually, Krishna says, I am the fire of digestion. So that means, if you are hungry, the Krishna inside says, come on, feed me. Give me some food, Oh, that doesn't matter. You offer or not, give me some food. So therefore, in order to have a food, you have to do something, you have to perform some activities, you have to collect things. So there's some endeavor in such a way. By giving food, you offer to Krishna your activity, your endeavors, your mentality, and so on. So these things happen. Krishna is very meek and humble. And he's saying, 9:26, if you offer me leaf, flower, fruit, whatever, water, I'll accept it nicely. But in that verse it says bhakti-yoga 2 times, So he still emphasizes that should be some kind of devotion for the food offering. And therefore the prasadam is more transcendental than even the sattva guna food. Because of that, it's usually sattva, shuddha sattva. So therefore, it's like we sometimes know the Prabhupada gave example, if you put the iron rod in the fire, it becomes red hot. So same thing, if you offer food to Krishna, it changes the quality completely. And those who have experienced this is completely different. If you especially meet new devotees and they said, wow, this is different. This is really different, My mother was cooking the same time, all the time, maybe even better, but this is simple food and it tastes much better. So I enjoy it more actually going to restaurant, not sure, because restaurant devotees are a little bit of a grihastha type mentality. They think, okay, I'm working for the money. But if you go to the devotee kitchen, they just cook. And many times the cooks, they don't even eat that. So therefore it's quite selfless. So this is the best place to eat, in a goshala where devotees are preparing prasadam for other devotees, not for themselves. So it's quite selfless. Many devotees have actually very unusual. I remember that was Sudama. He was explaining how every food is connected to the certain ecstatic symptoms. I couldn't find exactly the quote, but I remember a few times I was listening to that. He said, when I eat this laddu, my hairs stand on end. When I taste this rasagula, I start rolling in the ground. When I eat this jalebi, it's ecstatic, I start jumping around, When I take this sweet rice with the saffron and camphor, my eyes start rolling big crocodile tears. So explaining every single food in a Vaishnava kitchen, he explaining through ecstatic symptoms. So it's such unusual things. And also Rupa Goswami is unusual. He created a whole bhakti theory, bhakti, rasa, amrita sindhu. This is rasa, this is taste. So explaining whole devotion through the taste is such an unusual thing. For example, there's an explanation. Vibhav, this is already not first shower, this is not Eastern, this is second or third part, vibhavs and vaibhavs and so on. So here, this is ingredients. If you compare kitchen ingredients and cooking to these ecstatic symptoms, he says vibhavas is ingredients, what you're cooking from. Anubhav is movements while you're eating. Sattvika bhavas is voluntary bodily reactions, voluntarily, tears, trembling, perspiration. Vabhichari bhavas are secondary flavors, aftertaste. And rasa is a final experience of all of them together. So this is Rupa Goswami explanation. Uddhava also gives such a nice thing. This is 11 Canto 2, 11 to 42. Devotion, direct experience of Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three things occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Remember? Devotion, direct experience of Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things, from material things. These things happen at the same time when you take shelter of Supreme Lord. In a similar way, the pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly by each bite when the person is engaged in eating. So three things also. Pleasure, you like it. There's a nourishment for your body. And also your hunger is cooling down. So these things also happen. So therefore this is something. And of course we know the beautiful, beautiful stories of Lord Chaitanya. You know, when, for example, who was that? Advaitacharya, I think he was inviting Lord Chaitanya to his kitchen. He said, oh, come on, you're sannyasi. He said, oh, come on, I'm sannyasi, I cannot go to the householders eating, I'm eager. Come on, I'm just a little bit rice and some dal, that's it. And what happened when he came? How much food was there? He was looking, and the full room was there. There's plates. And it's like, how you can cook that in 2 hours? And he was cooking, and his wife was cooking, and very potent personalities. And they just prepared in 2 hours, like 50 plates of food. And they were eating. And he was offering, just a little bit more. And finally, they were so full. And what they started doing, they started throwing prasadam to each other, rice, And when Chaitanya threw the rice at Advaita, he was dancing like an ecstasy, not touching the floor and so on. So these are the ecstatic symptoms which connected to prasadam, And food. He is explained, tasted like millions of nectar. And therefore it is, prasadam is condensed mercy. Also condensed like milk condensed, condensed milk, condensed mercy. This is rasa. So what we can take a practical takeaway from these lessons which we have today. So we have to check in our daily basis what we're eating. So check according to the next verses, and we will see. Is it too much pungent, too much salty, too much this, too much this? There's only one thing: it's not too much sweet. Did you find it? No. There's not too much sweet. But too much sweet has a little bit of a strange thing, because just a couple of days I was giving class in a Russian house, and we discussed about the first demons who came to Krishna, to Brahma. Who knows first demons? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Madhusudana. Who is Madhusudana? Krishna, right? So, Madhu, Sudana. And that was other demon? Madhu and, come on, you are Indian culture, Kaidaba. So these two demons were created, some say they're from earwax of Lord. They fell out. Some say just 2 drops of water came from Lord, and they were sitting on the lotus leaf. And one of the drops were very sweet, and it was Madhu. Another was Kaitaba. There was other one. So Madhu was Tamaguna. He was representing Tamaguna. Sweet. So therefore, the sweetness sometimes of Tamaguna, it is misunderstood with Sattvaguna, right? It is true. There is nothing more sweet dream, sleeping, Dreaming is more sweet than honey, sometimes say. Yes, but there's one way how to judge it, how to find out. Ask the person to speak. So when the person starts speaking, you can straight away understand he has knowledge or not. Because a person who's Tamaguna always says, I don't know, I don't know. Every second sentence somewhere there will be something, not knowing something. So it's obviously by the words he's expressing or what kind of subject he's talking about, he'll be known. He's guna. What is that? So fresh food, avoid overeating, offer Krishna, of course, and honor prasad together with devotees. One Purana says eating alone is the biggest sin. You hear that? Eating alone is the biggest sin. Why? Because it develops your selfishness. You cook for yourself and eat yourself. Even the Russians, when they drink vodka, then they find 2 more people. You know? They always look for company. You know, mostly because it's they looking for money, and then they put money together, and 3 of them buy 1 bottle. But still, they looking for company and drinking in a home, and sticking your glass to the mirror at home. It's a crime. It's a crime even in the most lowest culture of all. But it's true. So therefore, we have to understand that spiritual, everything becomes in a kitchen. Yeah? Prabhupada said, this is our kitchen religion. But at the same time, kitchen religion is very important, because kitchen religion develops us very much conscious. You cannot be unconscious. I had such an unusual case with a kitchen in London. I was doing some cooking in Govinda's restaurant in London, and most of the time I was asked also cut some vegetables after cooking when everything is finished. So I couldn't bear the Krishna conscious kitchen. Nobody is sharpening knives, like nobody. They can cut it for months and months, and there's no even sharpening thing. You just cut it, And if you are not sharp, you just push it stronger, and it goes through. It's fine. So I was sharpening knives, and next day the head cook said, "Don't do that. The young devotees will cut off their finger." So we have to be conscious of the things, And this is not the fault of the knife. If we are getting very, very high carbon, these knives which are currently given, they are not even metal knives, they're carbon knives. They're so sharp. They don't have to be sharpened even for months and months. So if you give such a knife to a kid, it's dangerous. So therefore, for the beginning, you give small ones. Even for deity worship, I don't have seen here, maybe there is, maybe not, but I've seen in Kargar, they asked me to stay in this room overnight, a couple days. And look in the corner, there's such an unusual thing. In the corner, there was deities covered with cloth. So what they use for? As a dummies. So for young devotees who want to dress deities, you can go to them and dress 3-4 times a day, train up. And when you trained up, you go into the kitchen, to the pujari, and you dress real deities which are installed. So similar way, when we are trying to do some kind of seva, up to us, most of us have to eat, so they have to cook. At the same time, just by techniques of cook is not enough. We also trained thinking while we are cooking, and especially while we are eating. So why there is a mantra which chanting before prasadam? Who knows? Everybody knows, most famous prasadam mantra, right? Mahaprasada Govinda. And out of all senses, the tongue is most ferocious. Why? Not because it's too overeating, but because during eating, we tend to forget Krishna. This is the biggest problem. And therefore, to not have too much prajalpa, we have a reading, especially in the brahmacharya section, or the Prabhupada japa chanting going on. So at least it pulls away our consciousness from daily activities and back to Prabhupada, back to some stories and so on. So this is most important for us. So therefore, at a beginning stage, Krishna gives us, this is this guna, this is that guna. But after all, you understand, this is later practical explanation of the chapters before. Yeah? Please, man-mana bhava and mad-bhakto. And if you're cooking, man-mana bhava. If you do any other service, man-mana bhava. Yeah? Think of me, become my devotee. So this is the message. But in order to apply this message to our daily life, therefore, there is a sacrifice, there is a food, there is many, many things like that. So therefore, we have to understand that if you want to be strong, you have to lift some weight. If you try to lift weight like that, not much result. You have to reel, But something says, my favorite exercise is lifting the spoon to the mouth. You know, this is my exercise. And the main thing is repetition. Repetition is very important. So these are things which are how we are training. So otherwise, if you are not getting trained, why would Krishna bring us? You know, the food is Krishna's world. Unbelievable. Just imagine, that food is prepared by personally Radharani. Just imagine that. And then there's also jokes around it, you know, right? She's preparing some beautiful, beautiful Manohara Laddu. You know Manohara Laddu? Which is Manohara Laddu here? You know? What is Manohara? The mind-killing Laddu. The Laddu which is stealing your mind. There are different versions, but one of the versions which I know, you take this chana, you put it in the dough, and then there's drops going out in a hot oil, and there's the small pieces, and then you separate them in 4 different, and you add some color, and you mix together with the syrup, and you just make balls. This is but some say this is Manohara Laddu. So other ones they are different. But you know, the main thing is it's stealing the mind. So if she brings this Manohara Laddu to Krishna, and what happens? Okay, I'm not sure who cooked that. He was joking, you know, and he gives to Balaram, you know. Okay, try for you. Oh no, he tried himself first. Sorry, I almost spoiled the story. He tried himself first, and he makes such a strange face, you know, like really, like not tasteless, but like terrible, like that, you know, and nobody understands what's going on. And he said, "No, I cannot eat that." So, and then he gives to Sudama. Sudama, who is that Sudama? He's brother of Radharani. He said, "Such a terrible thing, nobody else can eat, only relatives of Radharani, you know. So therefore you eat." And when he takes that laddu, he's like melting. He understands it's the most tasty thing. So food can also be the funny thing around which is many, many pastimes happening with Krishna. So therefore, for us, important to meditate not just the gunas which are there, but how these gunas connected to Lord. And someday we will have realization. I remember my son, he was a little bit of a computer gaming guy, you know, and he could play for 5, 10, 7 hours straight, you know. And then what happens when he's hungry? He just comes to the kitchen, opens fridge, takes whatever there, eats it, and goes back to the computer, you know. Oh, come on. So for him to be educated, he has to be kicked out of home. You know, otherwise he thinks, you know, the rest of his life, I just go to kitchen, it's always loaded, you know. He doesn't really realize who is providing, who is working, who is going to the shop. I just go to the shop, always something, open it. For us devotees also, thinking, okay, something is going in the fridge. Even if I go myself to the shop, we say, okay, it's fridge, you know, somewhere. The most important thing is, if you understand that actually food is provided by Krishna. Ishabanisada says, you know, don't take too much, by understanding to whom it all belongs. So if you understand that food is given by Krishna, by his eyes, by his eye as a form of sun, all the foods have been grown, and all the vegetables are growing because of moon, and they give taste and so on. So therefore one day understand, actually Krishna is filling up my fridge. So therefore we have realization, and it's like, okay, maybe I should cook with him. He's been providing food for many, many years, maybe lifetimes, so maybe I, in return, cooked something for him. And then you find out what he likes, you know. He doesn't like maybe Russian salad or some, you know, pizza or whatever pasta. Although our movement is so strange, you know, I don't understand where it's coming from. How many devotees been in Italy, you know? I don't know how much. But straight away, we have a festival, straight away there's pizza and pasta. You know? Why? We don't take the list of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's thing, how many beautiful preparations which are cooked by Mother Yashoda or offered. Why we didn't do that? Because we have our own gunas. You think this is good. You know, gravy, you know, pasta, cheese, oh yeah, nice. Krishna doesn't appreciate. If you cannot take cheese in the fingers and put it exactly one piece in the mouth, this is useless. If you take it like, what kind of cheese is that? Krishna doesn't like that cheese. Krishna likes paneer. So, any small things like that. Okay, I'll finish my food lecture today. Thank you so much for your attention. Maybe there's some additions, questions. We're happy. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
The verses 8 to 10 describe the food in the three different modes. And yet in
it's
the
coming up.
sentence of this purport, it doesn't relate to that. It relates to the manner of eating.
Right.
Not
So,
the food itself, but the manner of eating, which reminds us that there are the three modes involved in that as well.
definitely. I think I mentioned already, maybe sometimes or not, I was living for some years in Thailand. And Thai language is quite an unusual language, which every language has a slang, street slang. And if you listen to some people in American, black quarters, Ashbury Street or somewhere, they're happy, they differently speak than normal. Few days ago, I actually saw one devotee coming into the information welcome center, and he was speaking Hindi. And straight away I understood this is not normal Hindi. Not Brajabhasa, not Vrindavan, not even Mayapur, Mathur Hindi. She was speaking such perfect Hindi, I was amazed, although I don't understand a single word. And I asked, what's going on? I said, yes, I'm a teacher. I'm teaching French and English in school. So therefore, her Indian pronunciation was better than on the TV. Right? So therefore, different levels of language exist in every language, but in Thai language especially. The one language is a common language. There is a street language, which is not official. Different people use different things, whatever. The fashion changes. Then there is a language which you speak when you speak about a king. And then there's language when you speak about Buddha. And every single word is different. We can take in a food wise, for example, one is like, he gobbled it up, just like a pig, And then he was eating. And then you can say, he savored. So every word, every action, every description was different levels, and for how language was different. Of course, the top languages was not very known for common people, but there is such a thing in the whole language. So therefore, we have to understand there's also way of eating, way expressing, way how to talk while you're eating, or what you think. Like Prabhupada, he was eating alone. He was almost sitting facing the wall because he was completely absorbed in the thoughts and the pastimes, how the prasadam was prepared, how things. So we can learn. Of course, Prabhupada also was doing the so-called lunch meetings, but that was just excuse because people want to eat something. He said, okay, come for lunch. He was just, there was few samosas, but they were just talking for hours and more, and nobody was eating. But there was just a reason to come was for lunch. But the rest of it was just preaching going on. So different ways. Yes?
On this different languages
right.
used by different people. In English we have, for example, cow, lamb, deer. And when the French invaded in 1066, they used their words.
Achha.
Cow became beef, lamb became mutton,
Right.
deer became venison.
Achha. Krishna. Well, they're supposed to be pretty subtle. They invented ballet, no. Dancing in a court. But other things are, how you do prepare. Some way how you prepare French birds is just crazy, When you hunt, the French kings, when they're hunting the birds, what they were doing, they were leaving them outside in the sun for 4 or 5 days, and all the worms were going inside the birds. So then before cooking, They're just washing them out, and they're supposed to be meat much more soft and, Krishna, just crazy things. I'm not going to talk about this. Nonsense traditions, In the Numnasami was telling about, how somewhere in Himalayas there's tribes doing some nonsense, so better not, Don't think about how Korean people think if you want to be smart, you have to eat brains, and so they eat brains of monkey just straight away. Krishna. What to do? For every action there is a reaction, so you choose which tradition you follow. Krishna's tradition, Sattvic tradition, Tamaguna, or whatever, even low, and Rakshasa tradition. So therefore, let's still follow Prabhupada and Krishna, and we'll be soon seeing the Mahaprasadam prepared by Radharani to Krishna. How coward boys are eating, and we'll find out what they have when mothers give them packages of food going together. Besides that, even after that food is prepared, 2 hours after, again, Yashoda is sending more boys with the packages of prasadam for coward boys. The main thing is Yashoda is, my boy is not hungry. She's feeding like 16 times a day. Where the Jagannath's preparation is coming from? Why is he eating so many times a day? Must be some woman involved. Right? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, go.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.